Hello, and welcome back to another FPL video. Today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I had a stream where I was rating my viewers' drafts, and one of the drafts made me a pretty good impression. That was a Threemium draft. That is a draft that included Salah, Haaland, and a third premium player. It doesn't matter if it's Saka, if it's Foden, if it's Son, if it's Palmer, it's going to be a little bit harder, but all the boys at 10 million or under it are qualified to be called premium assets as well. Foden, KGB, Son, Saka, De Bruyne, they're all premium in my opinion. So this is a premium draft. I will be using the players that my viewer Kurum used, and I will be doing a little bit of a tweaks at where I see the team improving a little bit, but I will run you through everything that is going on. So first of all, let's add the premiums. Of course, we cannot go without Haaland, without Salah, and without third option that is going to be Son. Because I like the first fixture for Son. He had a full summer break. He's the captain of Spurs, and I believe that he can do an amazing job at the first couple of weeks. Now, let's start and discuss what else we can do with the team. I've seen that several positions in the team are nailed regardless of what I do. That are the second striker spot, another midfield spot, and a defender spot. So let's start with the obvious one. I'm returning Isaac to the team. And yes, guys, that draft is possible with Salah, Son, Haaland, and Isaac. You're not losing the best forward money for points spent player in the game like Isaac. He has been amazing last season. I believe that he will be amazing this season as well. And especially at home, he is a different beast. Southampton at home, it's a really good fixture to begin the season with. Spurs at home is such a good fixture once again because Spurs tend to attack a lot, and Isaac on the counter, he is just amazing, and I don't see myself going without him. Apart from an injury, nothing will stop me to put him in my Game Week 1 draft. He got a slight injury problem in the last friendly, but Eddie Howe said that the sub was precautious and they need to assess how the injury is going to affect him, but still he's going to be selected for Game Week 1. As mentioned, Haaland, Salah, and Son are not going anywhere from the team. You can replace Son with Saka. If you replace him with Foden, this draft becomes even easier to build. But it's interesting to see with Saka and Son. You can build it with Palmer, but it will cost you in several positions. So I don't think it's worth it. I will showcase to you how I will be doing it if I wanted to add Palmer, but for now let's focus on that premium part. Next up is another player that I think is nailed into my Game Week 1 squad, and he's not going anywhere apart from injury or something else, and that player is called Eze. Now, once again, this draft is possible with Haaland, Salah, Son, Isaac, and Eze. That's an expensive midfielder. You can drop him down to 6.5 and you can fit in Palmer immediately. So the budget is 100 million used. So if you drop Eze to 6.5 and then move Son up to Palmer, that's a possibility. But I believe that, first of all, Son is a better option in the first 2 game weeks, and Eze is a necessity. I quite like him. I like how he plays. I like how he builds the attack. I like how Palace plays. You're going to say, okay, but Ulise is gone and Mateta is not going to start the season. That's completely true, but I'm not worried slightly bit. Last season, Tony was out and Brentford were doomed to lose a lot of things, not to be up to par, but Mbumo was still scoring points because he was on penalties and he was a 90-minute player, and that is what Eze is. He's their best player and he is a 90-minute player on set pieces. Now with Ulise gone, even more set pieces will come his way, so I see a very big potential in Eze for the start of the season. The first couple of games are Brentford or West Ham. Not very solid defensively. Chelsea, Leicester, United, up until Everton and Liverpool, he can do bits in that Crystal Palace side, but even against Everton and Liverpool, he can perform, as Guasner has showcased to us that no team is safe against Crystal Palace at the end of last season. They still have dangerous players like Munoz. They have Mitchell on the other side, Edward is there, they signed Sar and Kamala for the right wing position. Wharton is looking like he's staying, the other holding midfield is there. Yeah, Gay might be leaving for Newcastle, but still Eze is in a great option and in a great place, so I don't see a reason to move away from Eze and from Crystal Palace, as they were the best team finishing up last season. I believe they were even better than City and Arsenal on the fixtures. Maybe not than City, but for sure top 3 teams in the league to end the season in the last couple of fixtures in the 2023-2024 season. Now we haven't added any defenders, and here comes the tricky part. When I go here, I will pick Gvardiol. So this team can afford Gvardiol as well. That's amazing. Like the expensive players, I promise, finish here, but that's more than enough. You have Gvardiol, who is great for City defense, and from game week 5 onwards, you can switch to an Arsenal defender. If you're not believing in the City rotation and the pep roulette kind of things, but the first 3 weeks for me, he is nailed and he's going to be there, as he had the biggest break from everyone in the center back and the left back position. Eze, Salah, Son, Haaland and Isaac, in my opinion, are not going anywhere. So you have such a solid state here. The only issue with this draft is you cannot go to a 6.5 player, which might be an issue going forward, but you have to make some sacrifices somewhere, like Son, Salah, Eze, such a good midfielder. Until now, 5 penalty takers, which is more than amazing. So yeah, I was so impressed with the way that he has built his draft, and I didn't think it's possible to build a Threemium draft with adding Eze, adding Gvardiol, adding even Isaac, who is such an expensive forward if you compare them to the rest of the players. So yeah, I was pretty delighted that Kurum shared the draft. By the way, give a special shout out to Kurum down in the comment section. For me, that was an eye-opening draft, and I'm a little bit jealous that I didn't think about it, but that's why we're a community, to see different perspectives, and that perspective amazed me. Now let's go to the goalkeeper. I'm not going to surprise anyone by saying that there's going to be 2 4.5 and 4.0 players from the same team, and that is the Brentford pair. I know that this way you're limiting yourself from Brentford players, and Tony and Mbumo can cause a lot of issues to anyone that does not own them, and Wissa as well if Tony leaves. But for now, I'm willing to take the risk to go with the 2 goalkeepers. It doesn't look like we will be opting for outfield players from the Brentford side. So going for 2 players, and you know that you have the goalkeeper 1000%, and with this draft you cannot afford to have players not playing, because the money are heavily spent in the attack, and if you have something to deliberate in the goalkeepers department, it's going to be tough. I may even go for the Flecken Valdimarsson combo as well, just to get it out of my way and just forget about it. Maybe only Flecken instead of Henderson. I don't know who is going to start yet, but we'll see during the last couple of friendlies that are coming our way at the weekend. Now we've completed the defensive goalkeeper part, and now let's go and use the defense as it should be used, in my opinion. So he went for Konsa, he went for Robinson, he went for Barco, and he went with Harwood Bellis. Honestly, I quite like this defense. Like, Forest, we're expecting to score a lot of goals against Southampton, and that's true. Konsa against Arsenal should be benched, and Barco against United can be played. So, in my opinion, he will be starting Barco, Konsa and Gvardiol. The 2 of these guys being benched. Next up, we will go here, and honestly, I might keep Barco and just play him like that. And after that, it's some clean slate for the 4.5 options. Then you go here. So it's another good fixture for the 4.5 options. You can even opt for Barco if you're afraid that something is going to come your way. Here you go for Barco, you can even bench Gvardiol. That's an option. So pretty solid options coming his way. The only tricky part is game week 2, but I wouldn't mind that. And here I will do a slight change from his draft. I would not go for Harwood-Bellis, but I would go for Johnson. By the looks of it, he has been regular in the friendlies. I know the first couple of fixtures are not good, and if you are wanting to play Harwood-Bellis, it's going to be tough to fit in Johnson, and you have to maybe stick with Konsa. But still, if you go like that, game week 2, once again, is the most difficult week. Game week 3, though, it's Fulham for Johnson, or you can rely on that draft. Game week 4, then it's Brighton. It's an okay fixture. Game week 5, you can bench Gvardiol for Johnson. Then game week 7 is okay. Game week 8 is okay if you are a late wildcarder. Specifically game week 6 is good like that. Game week 7, though, you have Manchester City for Robinson. That's immediately West Ham, and you're good to go. Game week 8, you have Fulham, and you just pick yourself a player. Game week 9, if everyone is playing from your defense, even without Barco, you can stick with that defense, so that's good. Let's not get so ahead in the future, but I would prefer Johnson over Harwood-Bellis, because if Harwood-Bellis doesn't perform, he will be transferred out a lot, and with his, if I'm not mistaken, he has 14.4%, he is going to get a price drop, while Johnson, being only at 2%, is going to get most probably a price rise, so that's a thing to consider. Now we're left with 15.5 million in the bank. That's not a lot, but at the midfield position, he went with wings, but I will immediately improve it to Bergwijn. This is a guy that has been overlooked a bit, because he is a Spurs player. He's a new player into the Spurs lineup. I know that he plays into the Madison position. I know that there is European football, but first of all, he's 0.8% owned. You're not benching Eze, Salah, Son, Isaac, Haaland, or the other two players that are left in the draft for Bergwijn. Let's be real. Or for wings, or whoever you pick in the 4.5 position. But wings, looking at him, he's at 11% owned. If someone is starting in a 3-4-3 and wants to move in a 3-5-2, they will be selling what? Their 4.5 player. So wings will be transferred out a lot, and you lose some price money there, and this won't end well for your overall budget. I know that most of you are not fan of using budget and everything like that and considering those stuff, but it's important. It's not good to lose money on your bench options, like it's so bad, meaning you're not getting points and you're losing money. Like, that's the worst thing that can happen. So Bergwijn, cheap option. I believe that he will get some minutes because he's so attacking, he's so good, that I don't see a reason why not to go for him instead of wings and to be your last man on the bench. Now, going into the last couple of positions, as you can see, we have only 11 million. So I wouldn't surprise anyone by saying that this is going to be a little bit compromising to go for some of the players, but you have options. Hear me out. So you can split it in 6 million in the forward line and 5 million in the midfield position. If you go to midfielders and you go for 5 million, you can go for several options. So you can go for Rodgers, that's an obvious one. So let's be clear, Kurum here went with Andreas and Armstrong in the attack, which is a solid attack. I would replace Andreas with Smith Rowe, as Smith Rowe is the new shiny player and everything is going to go through him with that money being spent there. So I wouldn't look past him and I will rely on him. So yeah, but Rodgers is an option. You can then go for a player of the ranks of, we don't know if any of those Brighton midfielders are going to be good, by the way. Next up in the 5.0 option, we have some newly promoted guys. We have Carvalho from Liverpool. He might be transferred out, and if he goes to Leicester or if he goes to Southampton, he might become an option, as he is going to be played every single time. So that is good, in my opinion. Carvalho, monitor him. He might even start for Liverpool if they decide to do that. I'm highly doubting that, but there is a chance, as he has been performing pretty well in preseason. Next up, there is Oscar Bob. For me, he is going to be starting the season, and at almost 1%, you can attack the fixtures, and then you can then swap him for when you sell Salah, Son, or someone, but you'll be attacking the first 2 to 3 fixtures from Chelsea, who are looking alright. You can go from Ahmad from Manchester United, who I strongly believe is going to start in the right wing position for when the season starts. And then we go to some questionable players that I wouldn't recommend going, but you have 3 to 4 options in the 5.0 bracket. In the 6.0, you can go for Muniz or Wood, but let's be real, it's quite better to split the funds a little bit, because with Armstrong here, as Kumut went, so this is it. He is going for a penalty taker for a newly promoted side, yes, but he has been playing in the Prem, so it's not such a big risk. And the Southampton team, they are rumored to be playing very attacking football, so let's see. Maybe they are going to be the Wootton of last season, I don't know. And honestly, I'm not too bothered to think about it right now, but Armstrong is a good option. Being talismanic, being on penalties, he's going to be the new Carlton Morris from Wootton. And the last player here, I wouldn't lie, is going to be Smith Rowe. You can go for several other 5.5, 5.0 options. You can save some money. You can drop down as a, and you can improve the defense somehow. But honestly, I think that this draft looks amazing. You can drop Smith Rowe, you can drop Eze, so you can improve to Palmer, but I don't think that's required. You get a little bit of a weaker side. So you start with Smith Rowe, you maybe first get the first 3 fixtures, then you move to Rodgers if he's nailed and you have some money in the bank. From Armstrong, you can swap to Vardy, you can swap to João Pedro, who will be getting better fixtures going from game week 4 and onward. So you have options, you have options. You have a pretty solid bench that is playing. Yeah, you're compromising on 3 positions, but aren't we all? Like, I have some players to rotate in my 3 positions that are not safe. I have Eze, Salah, Haaland, and Isaac as my players there. And apart from that, like, I have a 6 million, a 6.5, and a 7.5, while he just goes with 2 5.5 and just picks Son. Yeah, the defense is a little bit questionable from him, but honestly, how can we predict defenses from the start? I don't know. So yeah, I feel quite confident seeing this draft. Konsa can be anyone else. He just believes in Aston Villa more. You can pick a 4.5 option. You can go for Andersen. You can go for anyone else and have a good game week 2 and then a probable game week 3. So Anderson instead of Konsa can improve that. So you have options. But this draft is really solid. I hope you like it. If you do, subscribe to my channel, as you'll be able to participate in a lot of the streams, in a lot of the drafts. You'll be mentioned in the comment sections. You can join my mini league. You can join my mini league with prizes by just becoming a member to the channel. You can do it all in the comments, in the description. Sorry, write down a comment in the comment section, like the video, do all those great stuff. But for now, guys, I'll be heading out. Bye.